Now I'm unmuted. My apologies. I don't know what is happening with my microphone, that it's disconnecting and connecting and disconnecting and connecting. So my apologies, but welcome. Thank you so much for popping in to say hello and to listen to me rant. That is right. I am an unhappy camper. And I usually am an unhappy camper when we are talking about one Barry Morphew. Working with people who experience domestic violence, who experience coercive control in their primary relationships, you develop a real sense of protection and kinship. We know that Suzanne didn't really say to people, I'm an abused woman, but we do know that she began to volunteer at the shelter that is there for domestic violence survivors, abused women, and that there were some very clear stories that even Barry told to the investigators, that those of us that work in this field, we recognize them as coercive control, the actions of an abuser and such. And the reason that, this idea of domestic violence is important in this case, the reason that so many of us fought so hard to keep her name out there, it's being reported in Denver, that she is, on the list of women that lost their lives because of domestic violence. Iris Eaton tried to change that and have her removed. Hi, Therine. Hi there. How are you? And we can't let that happen. The reason that we can't let that happen is that women who are living, or any person, male or female, you're living in a home where there is domestic violence, you are already being silenced and marginalized. Most of these victims that are still living, they have had all contact with their friends and their family has been terminated, either with intent, the person saying you are not allowed to talk to your dad anymore, like Barry did with Suzanne. You're not allowed to talk to your dad. You're not allowed to see your sister. You're not allowed to do this. You're not allowed to do that. Or just because when they do reach out and see family and friends, then the abuser makes life so miserable. Like there's hell to pay because that person reached out to their best friend or to their dad. And many of these victims will hide it. The husband will walk in and say, "Who are you on the phone with?" "Oh, it was the wrong number," when really she was talking to her dad, right? So it's pretty horrible. And so in life, while they are living in these moments of control and terror, they're silenced, they're marginalized, they're diminished, they're almost made to feel invisible. And then when one of them gains the courage to get out of this terrible circumstance that they find themselves in, when they find the courage to get out and they lose their life because they wanted freedom, well, if the damn court system, if attorneys are going to go, "You should take Suzanne off of that list. We have no reason to believe that she died by domestic violence," the whole world is going, "Shut up, Iris. What are you talking about?" The man stood in a closet, by his own admission, his own story, pushed Suzanne into the closet. And as she has nowhere to run, she can't escape, there is no path of egress, he's got her pushed up into the middle of the wall and the side of the closet, and he's holding a gun to his own head, saying, "No, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it." you go, oh, well, you're terrible to say that he's the abuser in this case. Hell yes, he's the abuser. He is using a very powerful tool for coercive control. If the conversation starts out with Suzanne saying, I want a divorce, I'm not happy, and the conversation ends with her being trapped, nowhere to run, as her husband's got his face up in her face and a gun to his head, she's going to do whatever he asks of her. Coercive control. It is an abuser. Yes? Barry Morphew is not going to pull that trigger. Isn't that right, Barry? You're not going to pull that trigger, are you, big guy? You never were going to pull the trigger. You did that to terrorize that woman. That's why you did it, asshole. So that is but one story that we have about Barry. And I'm not going to, take any more time, digging up old stories that we've already talked about ad nauseum. Instead, we're going to talk about some new stories because Barry is like the gift that keeps on giving, correct? So it seems that now that they have found Suzanne's body, they completed the autopsy. Well, now old Bear is going to do a celebration of life for his darling wife, the mother of his two precious children, right? Going to do a celebration of life. In fact, that celebration of life happens tomorrow, May the 4th, 2024. And you're like, well, what's wrong with that? Like, they did the autopsy last year. The report was recently released. It's time. It's okay. They tried to release Suzanne's remains to the family, to Barry and the two girls, and they did not want it. No. Don't give me my mommy's body. No. Why do I want Suzanne's remains? You keep them. You're the one going to investigate this murder. They literally would not take the remains. It is the craziest thing. Crazy. So now we're doing celebration of life tomorrow. The same husband and girls that refused to accept the remains of their beloved, they are doing a celebration of life. And you say, well, Jules, that's okay. That's a good thing. It's time. The positive stories talking about what a wonderful woman Suzanne was, all of that matters. It all matters. It's all important, correct? There's a little hiccup in this celebration of life that's going to happen tomorrow. Who knows what the hiccup is? This wonderful, kind man that Iris Eaton has shoved down our throats saying, oh, Barry's such a good guy. Barry, he loves Suzanne. Barry loves Suzanne. He loves his wife so much. Barry got a great deal of cash from Suzanne's father because he didn't have the money himself to purchase the log cabin on the hill. And Andy Moorman and the others were very unhappy. And they said, you took an enormous amount of cash from our old dad who's fighting cancer, who may need that cash. You have no, when you're 85, 86 years old fighting cancer, you don't know if you're going to need that money to be, home health care rather than being in a state-run nursing home. I mean, that's hell on earth to be in a nursing home. And so you keep every penny you can so that if push comes to shove and you are that ill, you have the finances to hire around the clock nursing and medical staff, right? It's perfectly normal. It's unnatural for people to steal money from old people. Like if you are a man and you are taking money from an 85, 86-year-old mom or dad, you're probably a piece of shit. You know what I mean? All right. So Barry's taking money from an old guy. Barry's so great, right? Barry's such a strong, wonderful man. He's a business owner, by God, who was running his business into the ground. But all that aside, he took this large sum of cash from Suzanne's dad. And the rest of the family said, this is wrong. You shouldn't have done this. And we need our money back. Even if my dad doesn't end up needing that, even if he's got enough money to get through until he passes away, then that money is ours. That's part of our inheritance. But can we just be honest here? A loser man that would take cash from an 85, 86-year-old woman or man is such a terrible, disgusting creep that they're not going to worry about that they got more inheritance than the other kids. That's their goal because they're pieces of shit, right? That's what they're doing. They don't care that they're taking more than their fair share. They want to take it all. And they don't care if they alienate their loved ones. It's a money grab. It's property grab. So Barry didn't give a damn. He didn't care. He got the money. That's all he cared about. And Andy Moorman and the rest of them were going, wait a minute, my dad may need that money. We don't know yet if we're going to have to hire around the clock nursing, and it's part of our inheritance. And that's a lot of money you took from him. It's ours. You basically stole from us, right? So it's a big family drama. And Suzanne is already to the point. She doesn't like Barry. Barry's a piece of, you know what? Barry's screwing around with every Tom, Dick, and Harry or girls. And she knows he's not her equal. She's figured it out that he's not fun and he's not nice, and that anybody that she thought she may have loved before was just a figment of her imagination. And she built him up to be something that he absolutely never was. It's a guy that killed his pet raccoon for what, $16, the price of the pelt. That's a true story. So Suzanne's like, you got to give the money back to my family. You're upsetting them, and I want out, and just do it. Just get the damn money and give it back to my family. So at the time that Suzanne was abducted by sex perverts in Arizona, or big cats drug her up the mountain, never to be seen again, or when she ran away to Ecuador, Barry, or when God smote her, all of that crap. The truth is, you were not on speaking terms with the Mormon family anyway, were you? Because you were a piece of shit that was stealing from their old dad. So Barry, it's important to consider when you hear this whole entire story, it's important to consider the emotional state of the interconnected relationships within the expanded family. Andy Moorman's family, there had been a dust up between Andy and I believe two of his sons. They were growing hemp. Barry, you big dumbass. Do you know the difference between hemp and marijuana? Like, do you know the difference? So they were growing hemp as a cash crop, right? And Suzanne owned a portion of land that she had inherited. And she was approached, hey, we would like to, and I believe they did ultimately end up I think they did start medicinal marijuana agriculture. I think they did begin to grow it. I might be wrong. It may have always been hemp, but at some point they were making this transition. At some point they were making this transition into growing marijuana. And Andy approached Suzanne and said, we've got this deal going on and we've got these contracts and it's good money and we're doing well. And we thought you might want to use your land, grow some of this cash crop, and then you could benefit as well. Makes sense, right? I mean, you can grow corn, you can grow crookneck squash, strawberries, black-eyed peas, and now you can grow marijuana, hemp, whatever. Okay. And so he offered to bring her in on this, which was a great deal, right? I mean, this is a good thing. This brings her into the family business and she makes more cash. Well, the good-hearted Barry, the guy who runs around quoting scripture all the time, the one who blamed God for the death of Suzanne. Barry was horrified, just horrified at the idea that Suzanne would use her land to grow the devil's seed, weed, right? It's evil. Okay. So he really was horrible. There was a lot of yelling, and the story that was told is he got very, very vocal and aggressive about, being a tool of the devil and growing marijuana crop for medicinal marijuana. Because he doesn't drink, Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that Barry doesn't drink alcohol? He's a saint. Oh, Saint Barry, right? Okay. Sorry. Okay. So when so this family, between the Moorman family and Saint Barry, there's a lot of bad blood that Barry caused because Barry's an asshole. Right, Barry? I mean, you know better than anybody whether you're an asshole or not. Or are. So he and his two lovely daughters, the children of Suzanne, have planned a memorial for tomorrow, and they have barred the Moorman family from attending. That is right. You must have an invitation to go and remember Suzanne. Barry, I think that's hilarious. Like, just let me put this out. I think it's hilarious that you did an invitation only celebration of life because, Another Day in the Car with Jules, AK rocks. Hell, we remember Suzanne all the time. All the time. Like, we're not Tish working her ass off every Christmas to make Suzanne's tree. Where are you? Where are your daughters? I know every year I send ornaments. You are doing this celebration in life. You're demanding invitation only. You've made it clear that there's going to be law enforcement there to forcibly remove anybody who tries to attend the memorial of Suzanne Morphew. And yet people on YouTube from all over the world have made it a normal, regular part of life to remember Suzanne Moorman every single day. And we didn't even know her or love her. We just value her and her experience because we know 300 other women living the same life that you subjected her to. But you need, Barry, an invitation-only celebration of life in which reportedly the Mormon family don't have an invitation. You know what I think this is, Barry? I don't think this is a celebration of Suzanne's life. I don't think that this is what this is at all. I think this is an exercise in futility for one Barry Lee Moorman. See, I think you're doing what people expect you to do. I think you're playing a role, which is what you've always done. And I think that once her body was found, and the lie that you subjected your daughters and the rest of your family to, that Suzanne was a Jezebel who ran away to South America to be with her lover, was all just bullshit. Was just a big old lie. And now that her body's been found, full of your bam, you got a problem, don't you? So you're doing what probably, I would guess, your own family expects you to do. We found mom. Now we better do a celebration of life. We can't do a funeral. Why? Why is this not a funeral? Why is this not a funeral? Because you wouldn't accept the remains, according to NBC News. Oh, please, Colorado, keep the remains because we really want to catch that killer. You want to keep the remains right there in Colorado so you can catch the killer. It's going to be very difficult to make the jury forget about the bam. It's going to be hard to do. Really hard to do. And I think at some point, family members like mom and sisters and others, if they legitimately didn't know what happened to Suzanne, if they really believed that she had run off to Ecuador, she was a gone girl, someone put Jeff Libler's name on your $60,000. Weird. If they really believed the story of the gone girl, now what? Right? Shirley? What do you do with it now? What do you do with the stories now that we know that Suzanne was just shot full of bear tranquilizer? That is weird. Like, that's really weird. If I was a mom and my son had BAM on his workbench and was so familiar with BAM that he knew exactly what he needed to use as an antidote, tolazine, I would be really unsettled that when they found my daughter-in-law, her bone marrow was full of 3 key ingredients that you don't usually find in human beings. Go figure. So the fact that you would say, no, 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 don't give us the remains, you keep them for your prosecution. You're going to want to go out there and get that killer. You go get that killer and you use the remains of Suzanne, my lovely wife, to convict that killer. Okay, Barry. Really? You have blamed everyone, including God. I'm going to be willing to bet that no matter how many years you spent as a pious, devoted Christian, I'm going to guess that God is really pissed off at you right now. That's my guess. When you start blaming God for your missing wife, who's found dead south of your house, I think you pissed God off, you know? And my first bit of evidence that perhaps you pissed God off is how did they find Suzanne? That was divine intervention. We know that because of the Reverend Donna Serafina. She saw it. God doesn't like people like you. Chad Daybell. She saw that too. So when you have a celebration of life where you want to honor your loved one, it seems highly dishonorable to keep your loved one's family members away. Why would you do that? Why would you make this an invitation only event and not give the Moorman family invitations? Why would you do that? That is dishonorable. One would think maybe you're trying to isolate your two daughters. Maybe you don't want the two girls talking to members of the Moorman family. I don't know. It's a guess. I don't have any idea. But, you know, there's a lot of people that say, how dare you talk ugly about Barry? Why aren't you doing that? He's such a good guy. Hell, I know he's a good guy. I'd name my bird after you, Barry. You want to know his name? You want to know my bird's name? Barry behind bars. That's my bird's name. He's blue. It's a blue bird. Barry behind bars. It would have only been better had he been an orange bird. You know what I mean? So people say, why do you want to say mean things about Barry? Barry's a good guy. Barry didn't hurt anybody. All Barry's ever done is worship the Lord and raised his two children in a gentle, loving manner and provided well for his family. Barry has followed those 10 commandments absolutely to a T. He has not violated, knowingly violated, not a single one of those 10 commandments at all. Not one. But you do bear false witness, don't you, Barry? You're a liar. You lie big too. Like your lies are not little, teeny tiny ones. They're like huge, like cheating in a federal presidential election. You did that, didn't you? You cheated on that. That's a lie. How about how you judged Suzanne for using pain medication when she had cancer? Or you screamed and yelled at the top of your lungs about using marijuana as a cash crop. How about that? Was that all bullshit? You a liar and a hypocrite? I think so. So what you're looking at here is a wonderful YouTube creator. Her channel name is Plunder, Plundr, and she is amazing. First started watching Plunder during the Chris Watts case. Oh gosh, Barry, there's another jackass that killed his wife. Seems like to me that you find folks in Colorado where you just got your fair share of the jackasses that kill wives, but we'll keep on going. This video is very interesting. I'm just going to ask you, who do you think that is in that picture closest to the camera? Is that somebody named Norman? Maybe that guy's name is Harold. Maybe his name is Andrew. What's that guy's name? Anybody know? Who is that a picture of? Anybody? Just put anybody's name out there. Who is that? Is his name Harold or Andrew or Bobby? What's his name? I'll wait. Richard Head. Asshole. Yeah, asshole. Bear. Who else? Oh, you think the blonde back there is Shoho? Billy Bob. Who is that? No, y'all tell me. Who is that? Who is that? Who do you think that is? Hey, Thomas Randall. I'm wondering if they tested those animal bones near Suzanne's grave. I remember Barry saying he went back to look for elk he saw that morning. Truth and lies in every statement. Absolutely. Yep. Are y'all scared to say who you think that is? I'm serious. Who is that guy? Like, are you having trouble placing him? Who is he? Oh, you're all saying good old Bear because you're scared to say his name. Why? Oh, I'm scared of Iris. I'm going to get a lawsuit. For what? It's Bam. So Bam himself, right? Yeah. No one's confused, are you? Like when you look at this, you're not looking and going, oh, thank you, Allie. Thank you, my dear. Nobody's looking at this picture going, I don't know. Who is that? Let me look closer. Oh, gosh, maybe the shape of his ears. I don't know. Nobody. No one is struggling to identify this human being that's right here on this picture, right? We all know who that is. We all know exactly who it is, right? Bam It Bear. It's Bam It Bear, okay? Yeah. Barry Morphew. Barry Lee Morphew, correct? So here he is. I don't know if this was a bar or if it's maybe it's a restaurant. It looks like maybe back over here, maybe like there's like I don't know. I don't know if it's a bar. I don't know. Go to Plunder's channel and watch the video. This was actually provided by someone who within the last 2 weeks had this interaction with Bam. Yeah. And let's see, because you can't quite see. Hold on.
But he claimed he wasn't the man under the white-hot spotlight as an accused murderer. She wrote.
So he lied. The lady whose hand that he's holding, she said, are you Barry Morphew? And he said, no.
Twitter user posted a photo on April 29th, 2024 of a man who bears a striking resemblance to Barry, but he claimed.
April 29th. We're talking about 4 days ago. Shoho, are you looking at this? That's your man, girl. That's your man. And he is out on the loose. He's on the prowl like a big old cat.
Claimed he wasn't the man under the white-hot spotlight as an accused murderer. She wrote, I'm pretty sure we met Barry while we were visiting our kids in Phoenix a month ago. That's my stepdaughter asking.
Oh, Arizona? This was just 4 days ago in Phoenix, Arizona, where the DNA of the unnamed rapist was from? That Arizona?
Him if he's Barry, and he just shook his head no. Super creepy. It's par for the course that Barry would deny being Barry. Lie follows lie. Folks have.
Barry. Even your facelift can't change the fact that assholes are easily recognized assholes, right? Everybody knows who you are. And Shoho
noted that
girl,
the man seems to be holding an alcoholic drink in his hand. Barry claims that he doesn't drink alcohol. Barry seems entranced with the beautiful blonde woman as he.
Oh, Barry, look at you, caught red-handed. Ooh, you shaking the hand of that pretty blonde girl. Got that bright red fingernail polish on. I bet she's got some bright red lipstick to go with it, Barry. And you're drinking beer. I like beer. It makes me a jolly good fellow. But I wonder, Barry, are you a jolly good fellow ever? Is it in your nature at all to be jolly? Or are you just on the prowl looking for a woman to have sex with? Because you yourself said the only thing that men need from women is sex. You said that. It's in the court documents. It's embarrassing for you too. So as you, Iris, go through your $15 million lawsuit, try to deal with reality rather than the bullshit you spew about what a great guy Barry is. He's a liar. And I'm not afraid of saying that because there's so much proof that he's a liar. Like there's proof everywhere. The evidence that he in fact lies is right there on that one picture or in the arrest affidavit. Or Grussing can tell us everything there is to know about what he lies about. I wonder if Shoho, if she knew that Barry was out hobnobbing, drinking beer, talking to Jezebels. I wonder if Shoho knew. Or I wonder if this will be a surprise to her. You know, Shoho, you already had to go to court one time for Barry. You actually, in a very bizarre set of circumstances, you ran down, trespassed on property that did not belong to you nor to Barry Lee Morphew to pick up a package off of the porch that he himself had actually listed as the shipping address. It was all planned. My question is, now that we know about Bam, what did Shoho really get while she was there? The package on the porch was just an excuse to be there. There must have been something hidden at the house or in the surrounding area that she was looking for. Something. So, well, that remains to be seen. If someone might know what it was that you were looking for. Somebody already found it, maybe gave it to the cops, perhaps. That's an interesting thought. The other thing I think that is incredibly interesting as the researchers and the detectives mull over the bam that went missing off of your workbench by your own admission, as they work through the implication of having found the BAM in Suzanne Morphew's bone marrow, it's not missing anymore, is it, Barry? They have another thing to mull over, which is why did Shoho and another person, why did they call and give bullshit eyewitness reports to 911? Oh, help us. There's a disturbance in the neighborhood. I'm Shoho. I need help. There's a lady screaming. She was already dead when your little friend Shoho made that phone call, wasn't she? So, Iris, there's going to be an awful lot of explaining to do. How that BAM jumped up off of Barry's workbench and jumped into Suzanne Moorman Morphew's bone marrow. As for the girls, literally, there is not anything on this planet that could have made your mother choose to leave you. Nothing. And the reason I know that is because I have kids, girls the same age. I would move heaven and earth not to be taken from my girls. This is going to be very hard, but acceptance is healthy, right? Acceptance is a one-way ticket to peace of mind. And when we talk about acceptance, we don't mean approval. We don't mean, oh, okay, well, I know that happened and I'm willing to accept it and everything's okay now. No. Acceptance means that you're willing, that you allow yourself the freedom to look at the reality of the facts with no value judgment. That you don't look at the situation and say, oh, well, it's okay if my dad had BAM on the workbench and then it ended up in my mom's bloodstream. That's okay. That's not acceptance. But it is acceptance to say, I am very uncomfortable. The concoction of drugs that my dad used against deer that he admits to illegally owning somehow disappeared at the same time as my mom. And now that my mom has been found, so has the BAM. And I'm not going to say that's good or bad. I'm just going to say it is. It just is real. It's factual. No one trying to hurt your dad. No one trying to point the finger at him and accuse him. No one trying to do anything mean or underhanded to your family. Just the basic acceptance of fact. The BAM went missing the exact same day that your mother went missing. And when your mother was found, so was the BAM found. Acceptance can give you a great deal of peace of mind rather than fear and intimidation by someone that you can convince yourself is a good person. All right, I'm done. Finished. Acceptance of truth eventually leads to peace. It does. It's powerful. Bello, he got it in Indiana. Yes. Okay, so Bella Italiana, Mexico. Barry, I'm not guessing. I'm simply recounting Barry's very own words. Barry got the BAM from his friend in Indiana who was a veterinarian. Barry used to like raise deer or something, I think. And apparently he used it when he had the deer. Anyway, when he moved to Colorado, he brought the BAM with him. And then he goes on to tell Lieutenant Brucing that he used the BAM illegally to anesthetize a deer or an elk or something in his yard so that he could then, let me get this right, Barry, don't want to mess up. You wanted to saw the rack off of a deer to sell the rack. I think that's what you said. Now, having grown up in Texas and Louisiana and Arkansas and Mississippi, I know a lot of hunters. They have never heard of that, Barry. Like the elk dragging his horns. Think you got the wrong time of the year on that one, buddy. You should consider the health of your daughters and take a deep breath and tell the truth. And that is how you minimize the damage to your family. Tell the truth. Man up. Stop pretending to be a man and do the right thing. Her and Daddy probably got in another fight, but we know he didn't really mean to do it. He's an awful human. We want more. Moonlight. Gonna get in trouble. Acceptance of truth. Great live. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Cat's Eye. Wait till her daughters are mothers and then they may accept. Yeah, I would agree with that. He had a deer farm and a vet gave it to him. Went to feed the baby. I'll be listening. Oh, you got a baby. I hope that she or he are healthy and happy. I am a pharmacist. He would need a prescription from the DEA, would be monitoring unless he purchased the BAM in Africa on a hunting trip. Not likely. No, he said he said where he got it from. They'll go and pull the documents, the receipts, and they'll see who it was. And that vet, you know damn well the vet is sweating bullets right now, right? The vet's going, oh my God, I don't want to be a part of the Barry Morphew show. Hell no, don't drag me into this circus. Yeah, no, it's not good. Barry don't care about no wedding rings. Very true, Uncle Jed. In fact, do you remember Andy Moorman, Suzanne's brother? Do you remember when Suzanne first went missing? He was on the interview room, I think. I think he was meeting with Chris McDonough and Mike. And remember when he said, well, was she wearing her rings? She had a rather large diamond. And he said, well, was she wearing her rings? Because perhaps somebody, a meth head would kill her to take the diamonds, then hawk them for some money. And, so that always stood out. And I thought to myself, he does not suspect Barry. Like he's thinking of the brother of Suzanne was, as they were in the midst of looking for her, he was thinking of all of the possibilities where Barry was not involved. And see, Barry and Iris are going to use this. Barry and Iris are going to go to court and they're going to say, oh, from the very beginning, they suspected Barry. Nobody ever investigated any other possibilities. It was always Barry, right? That's what they're going to say. But that's not accurate because we know that they got the partial matches, DNA matches from the glove box, and then where Barry was touching all over the bicycle. It was interesting. You watch the bicycle video where he's touching it, holding the seat, the handlebars. Everywhere he touched, the rapist DNA was there. Weird, Barry. What's that about? It wasn't a match. Iris is misleading everyone, including the judge. And Cahill, she managed to mislead one of the damn investigators. I swear, I was in the courtroom going, oh my God. Why isn't the prosecution saying something? Why isn't the prosecution objecting? Why aren't they standing up saying, excuse me, judge, it was a partial match. That is not a match. That is something dramatically different. They never said a word. Why? They were sleepy. They couldn't get up on time. Their alarm clocks were broken. They just didn't want to be in court that day. Iris Eaton was prepared. She was awake. She got to court. And she convinced not only Cahill, but the judge, Murphy, that a partial match is just as good as a match, by God. Yeah. It's the killer of Suzanne is somewhere in Tempe, Arizona, or Phoenix, Arizona, or Chicago, Illinois. No, a partial match is not a match. A partial match is another avenue of inquiry. That is all. The to be a match, there has to be a certain number of indicators or markers that are exactly equal to the marker in the sample. A partial match means only a few of them were, not the required number. That means that maybe you have a match to someone's brother. Oh, get ready, Barry. Oh my God. Hang on, Barry. Here we go. Are you ready? Okay, everybody. Maybe it was like the brother of the perpetrator and you got a partial match. Maybe it was like the dad or the mom of the perpetrator and you just got a partial match. Maybe it was like the cousin. What? A cousin of the perpetrator? That could get really messy, couldn't it? So a partial match, people, is not the same thing as a match. It just means that if you were being required to match up, let's say 22, 23 markers, maybe you found a sample of a person where only 12 of the markers were the same. So there's a genetic connection to the person that left the sample, the rapist. There's a genetic connection to the rapist, but not the rapist. He's a cousin. Right, Barry? All right. Told y'all I'm going to get in trouble. All right. Thankfully, the CBI has the box of syringes and evidence from the house. It's on the AA evidence photo. Yeah, and one cartridge is missing, right? One dart is missing. Barry makes Barry look guilty like nobody else can. Barry, you don't need any enemies, Barry. You're doing fine destroying yourself all by yourself. Like you don't need any help, right? But now I'll give Barry his due and then I'll put him into this live. We got to give Barry his due, right? That he was methodical, I think. On hindsight, what speculation? Because we don't know anything. We don't have any special knowledge that other people don't have. We're just reading articles in newspapers and then just talking about what we think. This show is based on suspicion, innuendo, and opinion. And Barry's an innocent man. He is an innocent man who walks free. No charges on his head. Why, I'm not even sure that they're investigating him right now. He's just as free as me and you, right? He didn't do nothing wrong, nothing. But if he did, if we were to speculate, if we were to write a fictional account of what happened, perhaps the fictional account would look something like this. I know I'm going to kill my wife, and I'm going to dispose of her body down south in a manner that is remarkably, even frighteningly similar to the death of a young girl in Arizona. Once I drop her body there in a shallow grave with the carcass of an elk on top to attract scavengers that will then dispose of Suzanne without my help, while that natural process is taking place, I, as the fictional murderer, would want to draw the attention of the investigators away from South. Yes, if I were a fictional murderer and I didn't want investigators looking for my dead wife south, then I might really create a lot of noise and attention north. I might go north and do odd and unusual things that would make CBI agents go, what? Did our fictional murderer just go to 5 different trash cans? Why? Does he not know that those trash cans are there? Is he not worried that we would go to those trash cans and try to dig out Suzanne's rings and her boots and her bloody coat? Why did he choose 5 trash cans and there was a camera watching every one of those trash cans? Why would he do such a thing? Why would this man stay at a hotel where there are cameras everywhere, change his clothes 4 times in a few hours, and walk around with bags full of things that he's throwing in the trash cans? Why would he do that? Why would he go to Men's Warehouse and sit there for more than 10 minutes with all 4 doors open on his car or his truck? Why would he do that? Some people, skeptical people, untrusting people, might say, well, Barry did everything but walk around with a big flashing neon light over his head that said, look at me, here I am, Broomfield. Come search Broomfield. Come go through the trash bins, Broomfield. Just don't go south. Isn't that right, Barry? Don't go south. No. Don't head toward Arizona from Barry's house. Don't do that. No, don't do that. We want them looking north. And that is what they did. Everybody spent hours and hours and hours and hours, years looking north. And then God said, I really don't like Barry Morphew. He lied on me. I think it'd be okay if they find her body right now. And they did. So, Barry, unless you want to take on God in the courtroom, in our fictional account, the book would end best with a confession and an authentic apology to the young women that love you. All right. What do y'all think? To throw people off, I wonder who snitched. No one snitched. Like I said, it was an act of God. I believe that in my heart and soul. No one snitched. The way that her body was found is they had another missing person. It's another woman that was killed and went missing. She's never been found. But the last time that she was seen was just up the road from where they found Suzanne's body. It's remarkable. It gives me chills. If it wasn't divine intervention, I don't know what was. And in some ways, the fact that Reverend Donna Serafina sees it, she describes it to a T, and it's so dramatically different than what everybody believed. Everybody said Barry's the mountain man, right? Barry's the Jeremiah Johnson of his time. And Suzanne has been taken off up into the back country into places that only, someone like Barry could get to. We were convinced of that. It's actually in the brief that Linda Stanley did, saying, we believe Suzanne is under 5-6 feet of snow. We need to wait for the spring melt before we can make it up that, harsh landscape. Oh my God. We were so wrong. She's literally in just flat mountain prairie. Flat. Like there's not a hill anywhere. Couple of blocks from town, It's crazy. It's crazy. Just a few hundred yards from the road. You know what, Barry? That fictional murderer that I was talking about earlier, I don't think that fictional murderer would want to pick up a dead weight and carry it a couple hundred yards. I don't think so. I think he might say something like, run. Maybe you'll get lucky. You did it to little chipmunks, right? Inconvenient. Barry's working on a knock on the door each day. Oh, Barry is dreaming. He's waking up at 3 a.m. Was that a knock? Did anybody hear a knock? Are they here? Oh, yeah, Mark Klein. Oh, yeah. 100% act of God. 100%. I believe it in my heart and soul. I believe it. Proof that God exists. Maybe Shoho talked to save herself. No, Shoho's a believer. Shoho has Suzanne's rings. Shoho is wearing Suzanne Moorman's jewelry. Shoho, girl, if he'll do it to her with you, you're just next in the queue. Get ready. Strap yourself in, Shoho. It's going to be a rodeo, I'm sure. Suzanne wouldn't want her girls to be harassed, but I just hope that they open their eyes. I don't think there's nobody's harassing them. I'm a believer. Wait, I'm not a believer. Sorry. I'm not a believer, as I'm very skeptical, but I believe in Donna. I just don't think he has any authenticity in his body. What bothers me are those mountain lions. Now the mountain lions have turned into tranquilizers. Honey, crumb time. They were always tranquilizers. Those mountain lions didn't exist. The only cat was Barry's bobcat. It was always the BAM. Always. He couldn't even get that out of his mind. When he's being interviewed by the CPI, or CBI, he's sitting there telling them about, tranquilizing deer and murdering little chipmunks. Jesus Christ. Shirley. Shirley. All right. Same thing. Oh, we did that one. Thank you, Bella. Africa uses a lot of BAM as a pharmacist. The DEA will be searching for the chain of events and receipts of who and where those syringes that CBI will have serial numbers that they will track. Absolutely. Didn't Bear the liar try to claim that he believes she ran off and took $70,000 with her? Isn't that the amount he claims was missing? Yeah, I thought it was 60,000. I thought it was 60 something thousand. And again, in our fictional murder, our story that we're writing, where the body's to the south, but the attraction is tracking to the north in that fiction. You have to know this, that there were 2 bank accounts that were opened online. There were 2 bank accounts that were opened online, and the emergency contact on both of those bank accounts was one Jeff Libler. Yeah, Jeff, your name is totally out there again. Jeff Libler was the emergency contact. Now, the conventional wisdom would say that Suzanne set up those bank accounts, that it was Suzanne who made the bank accounts, that she stole Barry's $60,000 out of his safe, used the $60,000 to open up the 2 online bank accounts, and then named Jeff Libler as the contact for the accounts. Okay. Call me stupid, but I don't think that's how it went. I think the connection of Jeff Libler being added to those bank accounts, I don't think it had anything at all to do with a contact for Suzanne's $60,000. I think it was more planted evidence that would make the cops say, oh, look, Barry, we found your lost $60,000. And we have a suspect. We have a suspect now, one Jeff Libler. Who is he? Where is that name from? And why does he have his name on a bank account that Suzanne Morphew opened? And I think at that point, he believed, the fictional murderer believed, that the cops would go to Jeff Libler and they would say, did you kill Suzanne so that you could get your hands on the $60,000? Is that what you did? Are you the actual murderer? It's fiction, Barry. I'm just writing a fictional tale. All right. I am serious, Jessica Rutledge. That is the truth. I wonder, though, if her body was moved at some point. Probably Alma said her feet and hands were missing. Well, they were missing, but okay. So the feet and hands were not apparent, right? But you have to understand this. They only found a small percentage of her overall skeleton, right? It was minimal. Why would that be? Well, because it seems that there was an elk carcass that was left on top of Suzanne, which would have drawn the attention of scavengers, which would have then caused the foxes and the bears and the wolf. Well, there weren't any wolves there at the time, but it would have caused the crows, the eagles. It would have caused them to pick it all apart. These were bones that had been completely picked dry of any soft tissue at all. And many, many, many of the bones were simply gone and mixed in together with animal bones. So the idea being, I don't have time to manage a dead body. I don't have time to, we see what a mess they made with Tylee and JJ, right? It's not easy to get rid of a body. But by attracting the scavengers, Mother Nature did the work for the fictional murderer. So the fact that her hands, her feet, whatnot were not there, that doesn't matter. There was a lot of her skeleton that wasn't there. I don't know why people would in particular focus on hands and feet other than the macabre, right? But you think about just like with Lacey Peterson, they never found her head. But if you're weighted down and the chain is around your neck, then the head, as the process of decay happens, then it's easy for the head to detach. And I think just you don't have much that's holding together your hands to your arm. And I think once the process of decay comes through and the soft tissue is gone, then I think it's just easy to pull those small tiny bones apart from one another. They wouldn't find the whole hand. Wasn't like it was cut off, right? It would be teeny tiny little bones that are all through the hand. They're all spread, just all dismembered and unattached. So I don't think it had anything to do with she had no feet or hands. No, he didn't waste time. My fictional murderer would not waste time doing that. It was just a natural byproduct of decomposition and then predators and scavengers. So also wondering if Suzanne was going on a bike ride based on clothing. He hunted her down, shot her tranq dart on the road, and threw her back. No, she wasn't alive to go on the bike ride. The bike ride never happened. She wasn't living. I'm convinced in my fictional book that the going on Facebook and friending a lot of men named Jeff from their past, I think that was a proof of life. That was an attempt at disrupting the time frame to say, oh look, she's on Facebook. She would have been alive at that night, but she wasn't. It was him. Jeff Libler knew that he wasn't talking to her. He was uncomfortable. In my fictional account, the boyfriend wimp who destroyed evidence because he didn't want his wife and 6 children to know that he's a philandering asshole. He said to the investigators that he felt like he was not speaking to Suzanne. There was no bike ride. There was staged clothing at the gravesite. It was said he knows how a body could disappear. Thank you, Margaret. Absolutely agree. You want to help me write my fictional book, Margaret? It's all fiction. It's just fiction. Unbelievably sad, Jackie Blue. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. There was never a bike ride. Agreed, Sandra. Yep. All right. So we had been here for over an hour. 1:11:22. That's cool. All right. So I hope that you guys have a wonderful weekend planned. And I'm hoping that our lives are full of sunshine this weekend, because if you live down here on the Gulf Coast, or if you're even just in Houston, north of Houston, the water, the flooding has been as bad as Hurricane Harvey. Now down here on the coast, our yards are graded to drain into the bay, and so we got French drain, so we don't have the flooding problem, but lots of people in the burbs up north around Houston are really in trouble with the flooding this weekend. So I really hope the sun shines and we don't have any more rain, at least for 2 weeks. That would be a big help. But they've opened all the dams up, like around Conroe, whatnot, because there's so much water. Oh my God, Jules, excellent stuff. Everything you've said in this video is so fictional. Christine, keep me out of trouble. It's fiction. It's not real. Okay. That's what we always thought, Sandra. But since the Yeti shorts were in the grave, those are bike riding shorts. New information, consider. Also, I believe she told Jeff on Saturday she was going on a ride. But Jeff doesn't think it was her. Jeff doesn't believe that he was talking to the fictional Suzanne on Saturday. He said it wasn't right. So we know who he was talking to, the fictional murderer. So, all right. So fictional, isn't that right, Pinky? That's right. This is a creative writing course, and we are taking some artistic liberty. All right. Okay. Please, if you have not hit the thumbs up, I hope you will, so that others can find this video. And if you have not subscribed, I hope you will hit the subscribe button and ask for notifications. And the reason is because I do not go live at specific times of the day or certain days of the week. I when I get a free hour, I grab that time to do a quick video. So even though I don't have a lot of time to do my videos, you're always in my heart. You're always in my heart. You're always in my mind. And I'm always thinking, when am I going to get back with my friends on YouTube? Because y'all are my favorite people in the whole world. It's true. All right. Again, I hope you guys have a really, really fun weekend planned. I hope there is a great deal of sunshine in your life tomorrow. And everybody say a prayer for Suzanne Moorman and her 2 daughters tomorrow as they do celebration of life. All right. Y'all have a good day. Bye.